welcome to our very first episode of Sustainability Sparks, a fireside chat series with green innovators. I am your host, Vidhi, who is going to take you on a sustainable journey to create revolution and leave a lasting impact on our planet and future generations. Today, we have a very special guest for our maiden episode, one who is young, dynamic, and is driving the refill revolution in the country. We are extremely proud to have with us Mr. Lokesh Sambhwani, who is the co founder of Refillable, India's first refilling service for home care liquids and detergents. Welcome to our fireside chat, Lokesh. We are honored to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Vidhi. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. You make me sound like I'm some industry expert, but we're just a couple of guys trying to fight the plastic pollution over here. So I'm glad that you've got me over here and glad to talk about my journey. Thank you so much.
We are very happy to have you here because you are a source of inspiration for a lot of us who are trying to make some impact in the circularity space. Before we jump on to the sustainability conundrum, uh, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, and what inspired you to actually come up with a startup that is in the sustainability space.
Uh, so yeah, it's not a very exciting journey to be honest, but let me take you back to the memory lane. It's been about we will complete 5 next year since the time Purav, Rahul, and I started our journey. So we were just graduating back in 2018. We were just finishing our final year. So personally, I'm 26 years old at the moment. I finished my graduation from HR College, Churchgate in Bombay. Basic business background, basic management studies background, not too scientific, not too finance oriented either. While we were graduating, right, India had put in this single-use plastic ban at that point of time. And to give you all context, Rahul Purav and I have always been solution driven. Over in the college, in the over course of the 5 years in college as well, we've adopted multiple villages. We've gone to in the Kumbharwadi sector in Maharashtra, built certain wells, given them seed capital to run their own businesses, taught them entrepreneurship, taught them social skills. So we were actively working in the social segment at that point of time. Coming to when we were graduating, we this problem came along that India was banning single-use plastics. Everyone was moving to compostable bags at that point of time. We remember, and biodegradable packaging was the buzzword at that point of time because from 1st July onwards, 1st July 2018, no vendors could actually use their plastic bags anymore. So we thought that this is a very visible gap in the market because now the ban has been permitted, but unfortunately there are no viable solutions out in the market. So we started our journey with the saying that hey, that this is an exciting opportunity coming in at that point of time. Let's see if we can create a product and see where it can go. So that's how the idea started coming. We started talking in the month of July that hey, can we do something about it? One of our first startups, right? Even before it was a startup, it's called Cupable, by the way. We just went on ground and started speaking to restaurants because they were the ones who were severely affected because they did not know how to send their food or plastic food or beverages in plastic containers anymore at that point of time because there's a clear ban put out. What were the other options available to these guys? And this is before there were likes of Chuck and other compostable players out there. This is literally 5 years ago when Zomato, Swiggy have just started to take off. We were close to about 2 million orders a day versus like 10 million orders right now. So things were just starting to pick up. We identified that particular market, were personally, like Zomato sales executive, we were on ground with restaurants trying to understand what's happening, what works, what does not work. Finally, we got in touch with a manufacturer who said that this is a reusable product which I can probably create for you guys and you can probably show it to your clients. And it just took off. Like one of our first few clients was Burger King. We went to Burger King without any circularity touch because we are young, right? We're only 20-year-old. We don't know what the plastics industry is at this point of time, but we were very driven that no, there's a problem, we need to solve it. We need to solve it. So we went to Burger King, we gave them that reusable product, and thus began our journey in this sustainability or reusable packaging space. So for everyone to give you a context, it was just replacing a single-use plastic cup with a reusable cup which the customers could have reused at their doorstep. There was no plan as such that you could come and return it, get a discount and XYZ. That was the first step what we started off with. So because Burger King came into the picture, we started acquiring more and more clients. We got within about 3 months, we acquired about 20 new clients as well, and we were seeing really good traction. At that point of time, we thought that probably why can't we penetrate the events market as well? I remember this festival called Spoken Fest was happening for the first time in Jan 2020, and we thought that why not partner with them? So for the first time, a festival in India was no longer being you were not being served in those paper or plastic glasses for your alcohol. Usually we face so many issues that okay, the cup becomes too soggy, it's not too great to hold on to, and we just supplied our cups as one simple time transaction at that point of time. After the event, while we were there, we saw customers reusing the cup at that point of time. So it wasn't that we had planned that, hey, this is going to be a reuse program what we're going to be creating. It was that customer insight which led us to that. We saw customers actually reusing the cup twice, thrice, 4 times, and then eventually throwing it in the bin. After the project was over, after the event was over, we managed to collect over 75% of the glasses which were used over
Okay.
there. Of course, we took it back for recycling, but this was a strong sign that okay, customers are ready to return something and can we reuse it even further? And that began our journey. That was Jan 2020, and by the end of December 2020, we did at least 100 events where now we were complete full stack solution. If you want a water solution, we will be there. We will collect the glasses, we will clean it, we will again restock it, we will work with all bars. So the ideology was that no packaging unit should ever go to waste at any point of time. We started reading about circularity, what's LCA, how do our carbon emissions become better. We started adding a layer of technology where we can track each and every packaging item. So within the first year of our operations, we worked with over 100 clients and did over 100 events, and everything went fantastically well for us. That's good. But
Okay.
unfortunately, then the pandemic came in.
Oh,
So
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
so at that point of time, at very early age entrepreneurs, we did not know what to be done, and we were just setting up, just shifting gears to a bigger proposition. We were just gone out hiring. We were setting up a reuse center where everything could come in. We could clean the packaging items, centralized version of it. We were speaking to the likes of PVR, Inoxes at that point of time to shift their single-use packaging from their stores from their cinemas at that point of time. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened and it just pushed us away at
Okay.
that point of time. Just like a lot of other industries. So we thought that that's not a thing for us to worry about because our principles, our aim was to eliminate single-use packaging from day one. We were not worried about what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. This is from a very realistic angle. From a very first principles approach, we thought that okay, as a personal household itself, I could see my mother stocking up to 3 months of supplies because we never knew when would we be able to go down next because this is the time when lockdown was just starting at that point of time. So I
Yeah.
literally saw the amount of plastic packaging items what my mother was actually taking care of. At that
Hmm.
point of time, we thought that it's not needed. Customers need the product. They don't need the packaging at that point of time. How does it matter if I am packaging one or packaging two? I'm concerned with the product inside it. So during lockdown itself, we started serving customers, reaching out to 100 top people and saying that, hey, this is something what we're starting off. There's no name attached to it, but let's call it refillable for now, where you'll be getting liquids like home cleaning liquids, your floor cleaners, dishwashers from a random contract manufacturer in an aluminum bottle. Will you be open to returning it? We did that for about 6, 7 months up till May 2021, where we officially first launched our refill truck. So for the users, Refillable is zero waste refill service where we partner with FMCG brands and get their products delivered to you in a packaging free manner. So we come to your doorstep and refill in your bottle itself. So we created a first of its kind refill truck in May 2021, and there was no looking back from that point of time. We just started expanding, reaching out to people, being on ground, showing it to the likes of the Unilevers, the Maricos, the PNGs of the world. And cut to today, we're currently present in about 7 cities. We're working with at least 4 state governments to implement our solution and expand in a further manner itself. From being about three scrawny kids 5 years ago, now we had a team of about 25 plus at the moment who've been working on entirely. One of the new projects what we're working on is reusable packaging in the B2B format, where essentially, with the regulation itself, they've mandated brands to start reusing their packaging items. The new
Okay.
function for the next area of target for the next 2 years is going to be create a reusable packaging supply chain for these brands. Now, let's say that you're using Saffola oil, which comes in a 5 liter can itself.
And
That's
yes,
mandated. That's mandated by the government to be reused. At this point, it wasn't being reused. We
yes.
plan to collect the can back, clean and sterilize the can, and then eventually give it back to the manufacturer for refilling again. So
Okay.
if you see throughout the 5 years, one thing what's become common is our reuse aspect of it. We
Yes.
wanted to create a reuse center back then. We're creating a reuse center right now. So everything comes in an entirely circular format, and that's been our journey so far.
Oh, that is a very extraordinary journey of the last 5 years that you have taken through the pandemic, through all of the challenges, I guess, that you faced because of the changing market scenario. But I think somewhere it became a good opportunity to also, like, bank upon and understand, like, what could be done as a solution to avoiding single use plastics and letting them go to landfills and oceans and polluting and creating a havoc in those areas. uh, Coming to the challenges, like, the journey that you just told me, like, right from your idea that you want to eliminate single use plastic and help people get a better option till now, what has been one of your biggest challenges, if you could tell me, like, one big challenge, and how did you manage to overcome that?
So a lot of challenges, to be honest, right? Because this is you're literally defining the new way of consumption. Because no one has ever seen something like this. Like even for most of startups, when they start off, they always have a counterpart in foreign countries for them to look at, to get inspired from. To be honest, we're working in this space where no one in the world has cracked this problem at this point of time. So you're literally innovating at the core. Every day is a new challenge itself. But our ideology was very simple. We want to make sustainability affordable, accessible, and convenient for everyone. That's the criteria. So even when we are internally discussing about a problem statement or a solution or a project itself, does it meet these three criteria? Only if it does, we take that project up. So one of the biggest problems or challenges, right? How do we get customers on board? How do we spread customer awareness at this point of time about this project? Like, how do we solve this problem? Because yes, everyone, whoever we speak to says this is a fantastic idea, but how do we show initial traction in customers to go back to brand and say, hey, this is possible. 100 of your customers are using this, 1,000 of your customers are using this. It's like a chicken and egg situation. So this was the
Absolutely.
biggest problem statement what we had, that how do you spread out awareness at that point of time? We tackle it in a manner that so that's how everyone should ideally look at it. Of course, we had an option of spending a lot of marketing money and acquiring a lot of customers, but what we did was we target segmented really, really well. When we launched Refill Truck, right, we understood and identified people who are currently recycling. So Bisleri has this program called Plastics for Change, where every week their truck comes and customers actually in high residential societies come and return their plastic waste for recycling.
Yes, yes,
So
yeah.
we thought that this is a perfect opportunity. These are the people who are taking an effort to store their dry waste over the span of a week
Hmm.
on a certain day, coming down, returning it to a recycle or to a collection agent at that point of time. That's my target audience. Those are my customers, initial customers who I need to tap upon, because they know about the environment. They know how do they have to actually dispose of their waste. They are the ones who are really concerned at the moment. So we started just did not tie up with distillery. We just started following the truck. Wherever the truck used to go, we used to be there 5 minutes later and say that, hey, this is a service we are going over there. So these kind of
Okay.
solutions we had to start off with, to identify, okay, these are the buildings what we can start getting customer awareness idea. Lucky for us, right, one of the people who was a part of it was a FM anchor. She actually got us on board, started talking about us, and it just went off. One
Hmm.
page got picked up from there. Then one of the actual so there's an eco influencer who picked us up at that point of time, who did an actual 10-minute video on us, which absolutely went viral. That video got about 4 million hits in our first month of operation. So
Oh,
anyone and
wow.
everyone came to know about us through this. Though we, just because we've got viewership does not mean sales have started happening or people have started converting to the new way of consumption. But everywhere we go, people said, oh, yeah, the guys who come on the truck. Yes, you are the guys who come on the truck. So that actually helped us a lot build our credibility in that manner. So there is no such playbook. I could say that we said that that's how we started the customer solve the customer awareness journey. But we really identified a target audience really, really well. That who are these certain set of people who want to do this. And if you're adding value, if I'm adding value to Vidhi's life, right? Vidhi will feel happy about it and would want to share it with five more people, like a referral kind of thing. So every time we used to go, used to ask them, how can we improve? What can we do to make your life better? Could you help us with a few more people who'd be interested on it? And that just creates a two-way communication thing. You need to speak to the initial few customers yourself. You need to be in touch with the market, because if you then just start working into operations, right, you will never be able to understand what's actually happening. So we took this customer data, we went to the bigger FMCG companies saying that, hey, we've finally understood the market now. Would you like to partner with us? Unfortunately, most of them were saying no. So we were not having the traditional brands at the moment. We were using the organic brands and tying up with those different categories. But that's a different problem for another day. But
I
yeah,
can understand.
it was fun speaking to customers at that point of time.
Yeah, sure. It's like I was actually kind of waiting, like, during the pandemic for something like this, like, where, like, every time I used to pick up a bottle of detergent or anything, it used to be like a pinch to me that, okay, that is another bottle going into waste. Because, like, at that time, like, in those days, there was not much transparency also as to, like, even if you're putting it into recycling or if you're giving it to an aggregator, whether it is actually getting recycled for the use of the word same cycle, or rather it is getting downcycled, or, like, getting incinerated. So that was always a worry for me. And, like, the moment I saw, like, someone giving us a better option, like Refillable giving us a better option, that I don't have to throw my containers anymore every time I refill, it is like uh, endorphins releasing in my body, that okay, that is another bottle that did not go into the landfill. And I have pushed even my family to do this, and they are also doing it. So just to tell you, me and my family are your loyal customers for life. And the next thing that we would really love to see is shampoos in refillable bottles. Like, that is the next thing we would love to. Okay, moving on. I want to come to these two questions. Since you, like, of course, for you, the startup phase has been a lot of trial and error with a lots of ups and downs, different experiences, meeting different people. If there are two questions that I would like to ask you. One is, as a young entrepreneur, what would be your advice for any budding entrepreneur who is trying to create an impact in the circularity and sustainability space? And the second part of this question would be, how do you think educational institutions can promote research and development in this space to help such budding entrepreneurs?
So I'll take the second question first. So
Sure.
the way I look at it, right, is that you need to start training people or educating people right from their early school days itself. Because now, of course, I'm not against the educational system, but it's too bookish the way it's been going on. We need practical experience and new solutions. Whatever we've been trying to do, we need innovators at the core, at the heart of everything we do. All the industries you see over the last 10 years, which have been disrupted. We need innovations like this coming from young entrepreneurs at all points of time, young kids at all points of time. So if imagine like a life cycle of a student, right? Someone who graduates school about 15, 16, goes to college, graduates about 21. After their first job is where they actually start practically thinking, oh, all of these things can happen. What if we could pick that side or educate them about the problem from day one, from about their secondary, add uh, not only circularity in plastics, but overall about the environment as a subject, where circularity plays a very important part. Why not add that in the secondary curriculum itself? Because
Sure.
that's where the problem statement is. Up till 2020, after 2019, I did not know India was generating about 26,000 tons of waste every single day. 26,000 tons of waste, 40% of which is not being recycled till now. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest leakage point what we have right now. We need to get more and more people involved at any point of time. We need to train them to be solution providers, to be to be obsessed with a certain problem and think about creating solutions. Like I personally believe this decade, the next 15 to 20 years is India's decade. India's gonna be one of the top two countries in the world in terms of manufacturing, in terms of startups, in terms of funding, in terms of infrastructure. We have all the right resources at this point of time. And the biggest opportunity what we have is that we are a dense population. Most of the startups, most of the if you have to analyze the trends overall which happen in other countries, right? We have a very young demographic. Plus, our population now we're the most populated country in the entire world. That means density is not an issue. That means consumption is not an issue. It's going to be growing year on year at least 30%. That we're going to be compounding in that particular manner. The consumption, not only, I'm not talking about only fast moving products, I'm talking about anything and everything. As
Sure.
more population is kicking in, you're going to be using more and more service at any point of time. So if we start educating young people today, look, think about how the next decade can be. If we have to reach the target of 2050 net no carbon emission, zero carbon emission, 100% clean energy, we need these people to learn from now. We need to start implementing projects right now. Let's say we were training our kids. We're training our kids to be better people for tomorrow. What if there is no tomorrow? We need
Yeah.
to start telling them about that. We need to ingrain to them that there can be a tomorrow and you are going to bring a better tomorrow from today. I'm not saying it's already too late when by the time they come to 21, 22, but think about like if we do not reach our target by 2050, most of our fossil fuels are going to be depleted by then. If we start
Sure.
training them young, there is a chance of survival for us. There is a chance that we will be able to mitigate that climate risk at this point of time. Instead of the temperature rising by 2 degrees, probably we can do it by 1 degree. It's already happening, right? We can see in India itself. Look at the climate change. Look at the summers are way hotter, the winters are way colder, monsoon comes at erratic timings. So climate change is real. Everyone is there. Why not teach the kids at this point of time? And talking about entrepreneurs, right? Amar, If you're, I personally believe this, that if your intentions are right, if you're looking to solve a problem wholeheartedly, okay, money will come. The biggest parameter for people is right. Okay, this space is not ripe yet, and we will not be able to make money. I completely agree. What we are also currently working on, not necessarily is money making right now, but in the longer run, in the next 10 years, okay, look at the value you are going to create. Look at the value part of it and not the money angle. And if you are true to yourself and creating that particular value, I'm sure I can assure you that you will be able to crack your first customer, you will be able to crack your first fundraise, you will be able to get your first contract with the government because you will be doing the good job. Anyone and everyone, be it a kid or be it a young entrepreneur, try to be the market expert or market leader in what you are trying to build. It can be something like us also. No one knows about how refilling works. No one knows about how reusing works. We had to actually go on ground, go to the dump yards, landfills, go speak to the waste pickers, speak to the clients, speak to everything, and then gauge our opinions and make about it. Similarly, everyone, you need to be obsessed with the problem, give a solution. And I personally believe if your heart's in the right place, if you're solution driven, if you're focusing on your clients and customers, fundraise will happen, which will help you expand, do anything. Money is just an arbitrary, or capital is just an arbitrary thing which will help you reach out to your goals. It's not the end goal for anyone. The end goal for anyone and everyone is to create value in the longer run. And that's what we personally believe in. The one statement what our entire team goes by is the goal isn't to live forever. It is to create something that will. So something what you can look forward to, that's something what we really, really believe in.
Okay. That is a very wonderful thing that you just shared, because I guess uh, why I identify with this is because there's a lot of like mindedness that is there with you as an organization, with the three of you and myself. Because I think I don't know if you know my background. Like, I was a medical doctor, and I've also, I've transitioned into being an environmental professional, of course, with degrees and all of that. But what thing that kept me driven is to create value in this space. Not think only about the money or the finance that is coming in, but to actually create value. And that is where, another thing that I identify with is also starting young, starting the education as young as possible. And it should not be limited to bookish language, bookish knowledge. Because this is something that we also experienced when we were in school. Like, I remember when I was in the 8th standard, environmental science was reintroduced into the curriculum, and everybody was upset about it. They're like, oh, another subject to study when we are already burdened with so much. And of course, it didn't do a lot of justice. It just became by hearting a little and just emptying it into the paper, and that's it. It didn't really create an impact. That environment is associated, or sustainability is associated with anything and everything that you are doing, any field that you are going to pursue, any career you wish to go ahead in. Somewhere sustainability is going to be a part of each and everything. And trying to introduce experiential learning at a young age is what we are also aiming to get into. Okay. Wonderful conversations that we've had till now. You mentioned about how getting the attention of people has become a bit more easier right now, but a challenge still lies in the consumer behavioral change. So what do you think, how can we enhance this behavioral change to adopt reusability and refillability over disposability and recyclability? If you could let me know.
So all the stakeholders need to come together, to be very honest. If I have to give from a very holistic picture, from a bird eye view, now there are four stakeholders involved at the moment. Of course, one are your customers itself. They need to come to know about it. They need to have that thing that, okay, we need to change for better. They need to be aware about the particular problem. Number two stakeholder is your government or your legislation. These guys need to come in to guide us and direct us in a better manner possible. These are the ones who enforce not only incentives and about bans on the companies to do better, but they are the regulatory body. Number three are the brands. Brands are currently, they have, though they've made this audacious target by 2025, we need to move to 100% recyclable packaging. And believe me in their words, they are now moving to recyclable packaging. Reusable and refillable is still dog years ago, away from us to achieve at this point of time. And fourth are startups like us. So for we startups like us, we need to invest in the infrastructure. We need to create and show solutions that this is possible for us to solve the problem, showcase it to the brands, showcase it to the customers and the legislation. It's been 5 years to us, but right now finally we can work with the government to set up legislation that, hey, this is possible at this point of time. And that plays a very important role. Of course, you can speak to 10 brands at this point and try to get them on board and show them value. Because to be very honest, none of these, hey, they have to acknowledge that sustainability is a part of everything what we do from now onwards. And brands are going to face the biggest issue on it because they've been only driven by two parameters, either revenue creation or cost reduction. Those are the only two parameters what the brands have been working on. That's fair enough for any business because that's not my core value proposition. I don't need to focus on anything else. But the real question lies in, can we create something which is valuable, which is cost driven, like cost friendly, and still be environment friendly as well? Can we ensure that that is possible? Or if not, can we take the help of legislation to make it possible? Think about your cement industry 40 years ago when these guys were need to be like the initial days of India Cements, Ambuja Cements, ACC, all of these people, right? Government was giving subsidies on land to set up this infrastructure.
Yeah.
10 years ago, EV manufacturing facilities were getting subsidies, or the charging network was getting subsidies to get the infrastructure set in. Right now, we can purchase EVs because the charging infrastructure exists. So legislation plays a very important role in policy making to ensure that what's the next decade gonna look like. These guys need to start working on it right now. Customer awareness. I personally feel from the time we started to where we are today, there's a lot of customer awareness. Each person, so sustainability is still a good to have factor, not the priority for us. Like there are a lot of armchair activists involved at the moment, but I would still say the awareness has grown massively. We have seen people throw like simple steps, right? I was in Chennai the other day.
Okay.
Local audience, they know that they need to put it in dry waste, wet waste, and different compostable bin as well. They are aware. Awareness is reaching on ground at the moment, though it's not being followed in all cities and very well, but the infrastructure is moving. The simple step is try to do 1% better, and I think that if all the four stakeholders try to do that, right, I think we will be able to solve the plastic problem at this point of time.
Sure, sure. You just took the words out of my mouth. Something that I keep saying, keep repeating in a lot of my posts, in a lot of my panel discussions as well. That, like, one thing that is common between all of these stakeholders is the consumer. Whether you are a government official, whether you are a startup, whether you are a business, or whether you are an institution, each one of us is a consumer. And unless the consumer in us doesn't change, I think that drive to bring this change is, like, will face challenges. And I think that consumer, the moment we start understanding that, okay, as a consumer, it is our role to become conscious about what we are using and throwing, automatically we will start applying that, whether we are, like, in the legislative point of view, or whether we try to bring in a business in this space, or whether as an established business we try to transition to moving away from, like, just being stuck with recycling to probably more reusability and refillability, and so on and so forth. Okay, we've been going really well till now in our conversation, and I didn't even realize where we ended up coming to the last part of today. Before we end, if there is any last message that you would like to give to our viewers and to our audience, a take back message that they can take, and how they can contribute positively to this sustainability movement, we would love to hear that from you.
So, two things, okay? For the budding entrepreneurs, for the school kids, we need to invest in the infrastructure for tomorrow. What do I mean? What do I mean for that is, let's look at 20 years ago when Tesla was being born in 2003, right? Everyone counted Tesla as a joke. Look at where Tesla is at the moment. We need to set up and invest in the infrastructure at this very moment itself. That's something what we currently have to believe. I personally believe how the charging infrastructure was set in for EV vehicles to succeed. That's the infrastructure what we need to set up for reusable packaging to succeed moving forward. We need to have these clean cells on every nook and corner. We need to have the reverse logistics set in at that point of time. That's something what we need to work in. And for the customers, right? Each time y'all are reusing a bottle, each time y'all are reusing a bag and going to the grocery store and getting that, each time y'all are saying no to plastic. I want y'all to look outside and think that the refillable team is thanking y'all at any point of time. We are with you guys. We are the ones who are actually proud that y'all are our customers and y'all are making the movement change. People don't feel that that's a very big change at the moment, but think of it. If everyone's using a straw, right? Everyone for any particular drink, there are 7 billion straws being used. If half of them start saying no to straws, directly the consumption has reduced to half a billion, only 3.5 billion straws. That's
Yeah.
where we are at. So each person who goes out and tries to do something small in the steps of sustainability, I can assure you, refillable team, even though we're not present physically over there, we are thanking you guys. We are the ones who are saying that, hey, you are the hero of your story. You can actually help the change transpire in a much bigger movement. So just try every day, try to do 1% better than what we were doing yesterday. It's not only about sustainability, it's about yourself as well. Just try to make yourself better, and I can assure you, you will do good in life, and we will be there. We will help you achieve that thing. We will be your biggest supporters. We will be your biggest cheerleaders, and we will always be there for you guys if you want to do something better. So yeah, thank you so much, and just keep doing good. Keep reusing, keep refilling, and I think we are moving in the right direction.
Okay. Yeah. As you said, every drop creates an ocean, and every person trying to bring change is going to create some positive impact. And as that one person becomes a million people, we are going to create the right kind of sustainability movement in reuse and refillability. Thank you once again, Lokesh, for sharing your expertise and your passion with us today. Your dedication to the reuse and refill movement is inspiring, and we are grateful for your contribution toward a more sustainable world. As for you, wonderful viewers, thank you for joining us for this thought provoking fireside chat. Remember, the refill revolution starts with each one of us. Let us educate ourselves and build capacity for circularity and sustainability to thrive. See you all in our next episode. And for more details, keep following us and subscribe to our channel.